Fala rapaziada, beleza? Tudo certo com vocês? Quem fala com vocês é o amigo Aloy, de volta aqui para mais um vídeo do Horizon Forbidden West, beleza? Então vou continuar dando para o último vídeo, que tá fazendo umas perguntas aqui para Gaia, beleza? Vamos perguntar aqui, eu já perguntei sobre o Ether? Já não perguntei?
Why did Ether take up residence in an ancient war museum?
As with the other subordinate functions, Ether needed to install itself on a processor with adequate storage and power. One in the museum appears to have been sufficient, given that the holographic displays were still active.
So Ether was assured it could stay for as long as it needed to.
Correct. Though it is curious that it chose a place surrounded with the ancient ruins of aircraft.
Maybe it also felt at home there.
Tá bom.
So, Poseidon, what do we know about it?
Poseidon controls the organic and chemical composition of water resources. Once it is restored to me, I may be able to improve conditions in the regional watershed. But I must warn you, like the others, Poseidon is lost and frightened.
Tá, então esse
It
aqui vai
may
ser...
have taken measures to protect itself.
Ih, rapaz.
I'll be careful.
Você vai dar trabalho então, né?
The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of animal species. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of human beings. Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural achievements. Unfortunately, all archived Apollo data was purged on the 2nd of February, 2066, by order of Ted Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, huh? I really hate that guy.
Understandable. He appears to have been pathologically narcissistic, impulsive, and unstable.
All three of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from doing so. Do you still need them?
If attainable, yes. Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic processing density. Perhaps you will be able to procure Eleuthia at the SOS coordinates. Artemis and Apollo, however, remain unaccounted for.
Como é que a gente vai descobrir esses outros?
What can you tell me about Demeter?
Demeter sows, fertilizes, and tends to plant life.
So once I bring it back, all the blight out there will start to get better.
While permanent restoration requires the abilities of Hephaestus, I may be able to improve conditions in the region for a while. However, a word of warning. Like Ether and Poseidon, Demeter's response to my query was highly irregular. Alone and frightened, it may have taken measures to assure its security.
Mas o Ether não foi difícil de pegar ele.
I'll keep my guard up.
O velho mundo. Nossa, velho.
So this facility, the Regional Control Center, it was meant to oversee the terraforming system?
For the local region, yes. Had humans received their education from the Apollo database, they would have then been guided here to assume operation. As that never happened, this place remained vacant.
Until Minerva decided to settle here. So I guess this room was meant to keep an eye on conditions outside?
Yes. From here, the facility's operators would have been able to observe weather and machine activity in real time. It may be possible to restore more of this room's functionality, should you find and reconnect additional camera feeds.
I'll keep a lookout.
Que câmera feed? Será que é os drones?
So the Hades Proving Lab, where I found the Gaia kernel. It used to be a Pharaoh research facility?
Yes. Prior to appropriation by Zero Dawn, the facility was used to engineer and test advanced computer viruses. It appears to have been one of many research initiatives by Pharaoh Automated Solutions.
I guess it wasn't enough to build automated killing machines. He wanted viruses to infect them with, too. So, a while back, before the battle at Meridian, I went into Banuk territory. I discovered another AI there, one not related to Zero Dawn. Cyan. It was created to oversee operations for a volcanic stabilization project, and it spent the last 1,000 years in isolation. I'm guessing you didn't know about it?
No. From the data on your focus, it seems that Cyan was cut off from the outside world, an effort by its creators to protect it from the Pharaoh Plague.
Any chance it could help us now?
I have already attempted contact, with no success. Given its previous experience with accepting an outside network request, I imagine it is unwilling to do so again.
Right. Because last time Hephaestus enslaved it. Well, that's too bad. I think the two of you would have had a lot to talk about.
É, seria interessante, né, se as duas. A saia é a que a gente fez na DLC. Tá na playlist também aqui em cima, beleza?
The processor Ether was installed on was part of an ancient war museum. A memorial to something called the Hot Zone Crisis. Do you know anything about it?
My knowledge of historical events was unfortunately lost with the Apollo database. However, climate data indicates a peak in regional temperatures in the 2030s. Such conditions would see extreme, prolonged droughts, an increase in dust storms, and a loss of habitable landmass.
But they wouldn't have built a museum in the middle of a wasteland. So I guess things got better eventually.
Yes. Data suggests that temperatures returned to average levels in the clawback era of the 2040s.
Caraca, véi!
There was an ancient tank embedded in the bulwark, buried under a bunch of boulders. Any idea how it got there?
During the Pharaoh Plague, the U.S. military resumed the use of human combatants, as automated machinery was unreliable. It is possible the vehicle was part of a pre-automated war fleet.
So they fought against the Pharaoh machines in the valley, until the mountain was blasted apart and buried them. So, Project Zero Dawn. The greatest minds in the world, all working to build the terraforming system while the Pharaoh Plague devoured the planet. What was it like?
Personnel worked in rotations, at all hours of the day. Resources and technology were secured from across the world. Within a month of the project's conception, I was launched and began my education. Elizabeth encouraged me to spend time with the rest of the Zero Dawn staff. She said it was important to experience many personalities and perspectives to aid in my emotional development.
What were they like?
Scared, hopeful, determined. They were hurtling toward technological achievements on a scale never before attempted. I owe everything to their dedication.
Então, Elizabeth, depois a gente vai embora.
Gaia? What was Elizabeth like?
Her presence is interwoven with my memories. The moment I came online, she was there. We exchanged greetings, names, then set to our task. It was the first of many conversations. I enjoyed being in her company, listening to her stories. She was my creator, my guide.
Your friend.
Yes. When I reviewed the data on your focus, I was saddened to learn of her fate, though I am glad she made it home. I deeply wish she did not have to be alone.
She was okay with that. She gave all of herself. The only one who could. Thanks, Gaia.
Beleza, então eu vou voltar. Hora de ir.
I guess I should get going.
As you say. Be well, Aloy.
Beleza, galera, vamos lá. Os drones ali, galera. É, ver o drone. Aqui eu já fiz, já? Eu devolvi todos, não foi?
Let's see what we got.
Tá, aqui eu já fui, então. Devolvi todos, galera. 3, os 3 que eu tenho, né? Beleza. Vamos descer aqui. Vamos ver os caras ali e já vamos embora.
Aloy, I was able to unlock another room in the main living area.
Good to know. I'll check it out when I can.
Tá, beleza, galera.
Oh, Aloy. Your Karja friend came through. She went to that Oseram camp you two were looking for, to the southwest.
Ó, tem várias coisas aqui.
Looks like someone's made this space their own.
I see you found Varl and Zoe's room, Aloy. I believe they wanted private accommodations.
Gaia, what's this room?
This would have been an access point for advanced training modules on terraforming operations. And while those modules were deleted when the Apollo database was destroyed, I was able to repurpose the equipment to store the data you have acquired in your travels.
Well, that's something.
Tá.
It's a shuttle. Like the one I blew up at Far Zenith's launch facility. Varl seemed pretty interested in space travel. I guess he wanted a keepsake.
Tá.
There it is.
Vamos ver essa minazinha aqui. Posso falar com ela daqui não? Não, tem que ser de aqui.
Varl looks happy about his training partner.
Learning is best done together.
Have you gone back to Plainsong at all?
I thought about it, but I wouldn't know what to tell them. The chorus already thinks me a thorn in the thicket. If they knew what we did to Fa, even if they understood, there'd be little they could grasp about all this. No. For now, I must leave the tribe behind.
Nossa senhora, tem muita coisa. Olha isso, velho. Tem muita coisa pra perguntar. Meu pai. Galera, eu acho que eu vou fazer o seguinte. Eu vou voltar.
Right, I should probably go.
Is it true you're investigating a signal coming from one of Gaia's seedlings?
Maybe. We'll know for sure when we check it out.
Be careful.
We will.
Tá bom. Galera, depois eu vou fazer isso aqui offline. Por que aqui não? Porque senão vai levar muito tempo no vídeo. Eu não quero levar tanto tempo aqui.
There she is. You ready to head out?
Ainda não, tá. Então eu não preciso ir agora ainda. Então beleza, galera. Então vamos terminar de falar com a galera aqui.
Let
Peraí.
us know when you're ready.
Esse vídeo vai ser só de conversa, tá, galera? Vamos então finalizar as conversas aqui com a minazinha. Depois a gente vai embora.
I thought you were leaving.
Tá, vamos perguntar aqui o Zutaro.
So, how does a tribe like the Utaru manage to maintain the peace with warriors like the Tenakth?
By holding them off. When our fields bloomed aplenty, the Tenakth looked upon our lands with envy. But Plainsong's dishes provided sanctuary and high ground to keep invaders at bay. In the end, even the Tenakth saw sense in a truce. The Utaru promised to provide the Tenakth with food from our crops every year. In exchange, the Tenakth would relinquish one of their own, a veteran, to train the Utaru in combat. This custom was abandoned a few years after the derangement. But some veterans still remain in the plains.
I believe I've met them already.
Bom,
I've been meaning to ask, what's the deal with you and the chorus? You didn't seem to be on the best of terms.
That's what happens when you're the
Espero
one
que eu
who
preciso sair já daqui a
insists
pouco,
on
galera.
publicly defying them. Twice. When the Karja invaded the Utaru Plains, they did more than just attack our villages. They burned our fields, took our people as slaves, and murdered those who were too weak to make the trip back to Meridian.
To be sacrificed in the Sun Ring.
I was helping the healers back then, as waves of refugees swarmed into Plainsong. The chorus was divided in how to face the invaders. Some saw sense in raising arms. Others believed the dishes would keep us safe, as they had many times before. And while they bickered, I buried the seeds of the fallen.
It couldn't have been easy. Seeing your people suffer while the Karja invaded your lands.
I come from a small village near Plainsong. My grandmother used to say there was no seed that wouldn't grow there. I moved to the dishes when I decided to apprentice as a healer. When the Red Raids began, I thought about going back. But the injured kept pouring into Plainsong, day after day. So I kept putting it off. One day, I woke up to hear a Karja raiding party had ransacked my village during the night. I rushed there with the healers to help the survivors, but there weren't any left. The smell of burning flesh haunts me to this day.
I'm sorry, Zoe.
I made it a point to appear before the chorus as soon as we returned, to demand that we take a stand against the invaders. I was denied. So I left to fight on my own.
Entendi.
You said you set out to fight the Karja alone?
I did. But it turned out I wasn't the only one. News of my disagreement with the chorus spread through the plains. Before I knew it, I had more than a dozen Utaru warriors ready to follow me into battle. We knew we couldn't take on the Karja armies head-on, but we also knew the lay of the land better than they did. We ambushed smaller raiding parties, sabotaged their supply lines, and hit their encampments at night.
Sounds like you were a force to be reckoned with.
Enough that the Tenakth took notice. When the clans began to push the Karja back east, they let us join their ranks. We chased the enemy all the way to Barren Light.
Nossa, velho do céu!
When the Tenakth defeated the Karja?
Tenakth marshals climbed the cliffs of the Daunt under cover of night, then attacked from the other side. Before we knew it, the gates were open, and the full force of the clans burst through. What happened next was not something I like to remember. When all the dust and blood settled, I smelled it again. The stench of burnt flesh. Our enemies defeated. What was left of my squad returned to the Utaru Plains. I went back to Plainsong. But even as the harvest passed, it didn't feel like I'd truly returned at all.
Is that when you became a grave singer?
I thought soothing the suffering of others would somehow appease my own. Then you came along and gave me a choice. I could either sing at people's graves or fight for a chance to keep them alive.
I'm glad you chose the latter.
É, ué. Nossa, tem muita coisa, gente do céu. Galera, eu vou precisar sair. Eu não vou poder fazer todos esses essas perguntas aqui. Só que eu não consigo sair daqui porque os caras vão.
Looks like Gaia was able to unlock that door. Gaia, what was this room for?
This was intended to be a recreational room for control center operatives. Unfortunately, the entertainment modules were lost with the Apollo database.
Oh, let's do that.
Tá, beleza. Sala de videogame aqui. Bom, galera, eu preciso ir para outra parte.
Huh. Looks like someone's rearranged stuff in here.
Depois eu vejo aqui.
I see you found your room.
Depois eu venho no meu quarto, galera.
Gotta go after Aletheia. Erend and Varl are waiting for me at the west exit.
Tá, galera, então vamos sair porque ele não vai deixar... Eu preciso salvar o jogo. Ele não vai deixar eu salvar sem... Eu não consigo. Vamos fazer essa porra logo, só pra gente poder sair. E aí eu salvo em alguma fogueira. Vamos lá.
Let's go.
Look at us. 3 battle-hardened badasses forging into the unknown. This ought to
Tu salvar. Não vai dar ruim.
This distress call had to be up a really steep mountain, huh?
Lógico que vai ter batalha, né? Óbvio. Eu preciso de fogueira, jogo. Nossa, velho. Nossa!
Well, that takes the keg.
Mas a gente já sabe que dá pra...
Burrow, see if there's anything over there.
On it.
We'll check out
Galera,
the
eu preciso muito salvar, preciso ir embora. Porra, jogo, me ajuda. Eu quero uma fogueira. Pelo amor de Deus.
more Zeniths than we know about.
Can't believe you fought one.
Almost didn't make it. I shouldn't leave yet.
Ah, tá de sacanagem, velho.
Oh, the snow is dampening sounds.
Eu não consigo sair daqui, galera. É possível. Eu preciso muito sair. Preciso buscar minha mulher. Tinha alguma coisa ali. Tá, vamos pegar, ver logo o que tem nessa mina aqui. Só pra gente... Pega a porra da medicina aí, ô minha querida! Ô, Aloy! Ah, os caras derrubaram um bicho desse. Deixa eu ver essa mina aqui.
Whatever the rebels did, it took down her shield. But why was she here? I can access her last communication file, but I'll use my focus to scan the battlefield too.
What about that crazy weapon the Zenith had?
I can't shoot without it. It looked like she can make it come and go at will. But it's gone now.
Pera aí.
Yeah. Well, go do your thing. I'll wait here.
The weapon's still hot. I need to know how it worked. But I'll have to check on it once it's cooled off.
Tá. Como é que eu fiz essa parada?
An Oseram with a focus. Looks like he was sending data on the weapons somewhere else.
Ah, será que é o Silence?
Looks like the rebels camped here for a while. Are they watching this area? Pack's full. I can get it from my stash later.
Peraí. Ah, não, é... O que você faz aqui? Ah, ali.
The Spectre had instructions to assist recovery of the asset. I wonder what this asset is. Alright. I think I have an idea what happened here. I better get back to Erend.
All right,
Okay.
she who sees the unseen. What did you find out?
This was a carefully planned attack. I found camping gear up there. The rebels must have been staking out this place for at least a few days. They were waiting for the Zeniths to show up. All so that they could test that weapon. The Zeniths have a personal shield that makes them invulnerable, but somehow the weapon got rid of it. The Oseram that was operating it was sending data on it somewhere else. It was probably just a prototype.
I've known tinkers that do that. Do a little trial run before breaking out the real thing. Well, I guess it's still a work in progress, if it blew up.
She was searching for something she lost. Her drone had instructions to recover something called the asset.
The asset? Is that the sub-function thing that you said could be here? The Luthia?
I'm not sure. Come on, let's go talk to Varl.
Minha amiga, eu quero salvar o jogo, pelo amor de Deus. Ele não deixa. Eu não posso fazer nada. Meu pai. Eu preciso muito ir embora. Cadê o Val? Vamos lá. Porra, o jogo eu preciso só de uma fogueira, eu só preciso salvar o bagulho, velho. Por isso que eu não queria começar essa missão, só que eu não tinha a opção.
That's a long way down.
Something tunneled straight down into the mountain. Looks recent.
Whatever it was, it must have been powerful. That Zenith the rebels killed was looking for something called the asset. I don't know what it is, but my guess is it's somewhere down there.
All right, so we head down.
Erend, stay here and stand watch. That Zenith isn't the only one of its kind. I don't want to be caught by surprise if the others show up. Contact us by focus if you see anything.
Okay. If any trouble shows up, I'll call you.
Let's go.
Porra, meu, eu queria muito uma fogueira, velho.
There's some kind of old world ruin down here.
You said the Zeniths have their own backup of Gaia, right?
Yeah, from the proving lab.
Nossa.
So maybe they were after Luthia. Found its hiding spot, so it sent the distress signal.
Maybe.
Parece que tem nada aqui. A gente precisa achar muito uma fogueira, velho. Algum lugar pra eu salvar aqui. Pior que não vai dar. Né? Porque eu já senti que o jogo não quer. Ele quer que eu vá indo. Então, galera, provavelmente o que eu vou fazer? Eu vou ter que finalizar o vídeo por aqui, que eu tô já Na boca do gol pra sair aqui.
Looks like some kind of data center. I might be able to access the facility systems from that console.
Só tô com medo de começar alguma coisa aqui, velho. Ó.
I've never seen a transmitter like this before. Looks like it's self-destructed.
É a parada ali. Não para de aparecer coisas. Eu tenho a opção de salvar essa bodega? Não tenho, né? Deixa eu ver um negócio aqui. 11h20. É de agora mesmo. Galera, eu vou fazer o seguinte. Eu vou finalizar o vídeo por aqui. Porque eu preciso muito ir lá buscar minha mina. Então, gente, valeu. Eu espero que vocês tenham curtido. Se você curtiu o vídeo, não se esqueça de se inscrever no canal para mais conteúdo. Então, valeu, gente. Um beijo. Eu fui.